Now, it's been revealed that environmental activists from a number of green groups will stage peaceful protests at next week's Tour de Yorkshire. It follows a multi-million-pound sponsorship deal of the sport by the fracking and plastics company Ineos. Welcome to Yorkshire. The organisers of the event says that any commercial deals with individual teams is not something that it has any control over. Here's our environment correspondent Paul Murphy.
Team Sky is the biggest name in professional cycling, but by next week they'll have a new sponsor in Ineos, a company which makes plastics and has licences to explore for shale gas across Yorkshire. Those opposed to fossil fuels, like these protesters east of Hull, have described the sponsorship deal as the worst kind of greenwash.
Cycling is a good, clean sport. Indeed, last year you had the Sky team, and on their jerseys talking about not using single-use plastic and making a big campaign about it, which Chris Froome had supported. And now you've got a company who are literally making these plastics.
The protests planned for next week's Tour de Yorkshire are unlikely to be on the scale of the Extinction Rebellion climate demonstrations seen in London in recent weeks. But Rosemary, who's now back home in Lincoln after taking part in those protests, says the spirit behind them is the same.
It seems, ironically, that by letting them sponsor this, it's given them the oxygen of publicity when they're actually one of the biggest producers of carbon dioxide in this country. So I would say it would be better if we didn't support them.
Over the East Yorkshire border, Nick Howard owns Castle Howard Estate, 8,000 acres that could be targeted for shale gas. He too could join the protest.
What they're doing, of course, is they're trying to make themselves look softer and fluffier. The whole business of fracking does create seismic activity. I don't want to see our wonderful Hawksmoor mausoleum collapsing completely because of it.
Billionaire Sir Jim Ratcliffe, the Beverley-born boss of Ineos, is also a keen cyclist. It's understood his company is pumping £120 million into the new team.
And so the petrochemical giant that wants to frack this county could soon become a key player in the development of a sustainable form of transport. It's fair to say that when Team Ineos hits these roads next week, not everyone will be giving it a warm welcome to Yorkshire.
In a statement, the organisers of the Tour de Yorkshire said, "We understand the complex issues around fracking and remain in close contact with the national parks and local authorities. As a tourism body, we organise the Tour de Yorkshire to promote the county to a worldwide audience, but have no control over the sponsorship of the teams taking part." Ineos has not been available for comment, but will launch its new team at an event next Wednesday, where environmental groups say they will stage a peaceful demonstration. Paul Murphy, BBC Look North.